funded, and we've already started building. In fact, we're building in Benzie, Leelanau, and Manistee right now. So as I move forward, this map's a little bit hard to see, but it's hard to get Michigan without showing Wisconsin. We also serve Wisconsin. But, so for FCC support for charter, we received $26.6 million for Michigan. We'll be investing approximately $100 million. It's a massive undertaking for us. It'll impact 33 counties, including Shiawassee County. We already have 30,000 miles of network fiber in the state, and we'll be adding another 3,000 miles. So in total, it's approximately just over 35,000 addresses that we were given funding to build to. We are building more than that. As an example, as we are building, when you think about a census block, you know, to me they look like a jigsaw puzzle. Well, if we pass addresses that are counted as served, those addresses are going to get access to our service too. They may not all take it, but they'll have access to it. So this is an all fiber build. Most of our network is already fiber. Everything we have here today in New York County, we have fiber already, but all of the new build is all fiber to the home. This will be 1,000 down by 500 up as standard. So lightning fast, and just as a reminder, Charter's, you hear me say Charter and Spectrum interchangeably. Charter's the company, Spectrum is our brand. We don't have modem fees, we don't have contracts, and there's no data caps. So customers do jump on and off the network. And as you hear about what people want, one of the challenges is getting out of contracts. We actually pay people to come over and we'll buy them out of their contract. So this map shows you where we are in the county today. A list of communities. Now that doesn't mean we serve every square mile of every community that we're in. We tend to be where the population is, as you know. In red is Vernon, where we received a Michigan grant last year to build out to rural addresses, 95 addresses in Vernon, and that build is actually already complete, and those homes have our services now if they choose to take the service. So I wanted to call that out because that's something you might not have known. We actually did. We applied for 7 grants. We got all 7, and one of them happened to be in your county. Project cost was over $480,000. Charter put forward 51% when we applied. This is one of the states to see that we were serious, and we've already built it. So, there's a lot of good things that are happening with our company. So, here's where we're going with this funding that we received. The green would be considered our new build. And again, you see those little cutouts where, to me, it looks like a jigsaw puzzle. So we will be filling in the blanks as we go. But it's over 1,600 addresses that we were awarded funding to. My estimate, based on how I'm seeing where we're building in other places, we're likely to build over 2,000. The reason I say that is I was just in Benzie County for a chamber meeting, and similar thing. We had, I think it was 1,400 addresses won, and we're building almost 2,000 when we add up all the addresses we pass along the way that can take the service. So the assigned support that we're getting over a 10-year period that we get payment from the FCC is $4.2 million, but our investment in your county will be approximately $21 million. It'll be a lot of network build that's happening. So I just wanted to come in front of this. We haven't started yet. We're building to the north, and I know Commissioner Plowman will ask me, when are you starting? And I'll be happy to come back once I have a date. But I wanted to get this in front of you so you were aware this is a massive project that we're doing, and it's a massive investment in your county. There were other companies that were awarded RDOF funding in other portions of the county, and I presume you'll hear from them in the future as well.
Right now, there's been no people have asked their providers other than Spectrum Charter, and they've all said no. But sometimes they aren't truthful. I mean, or maybe they don't know yet.
Maybe they don't know yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, that can happen too.
And going back a bit, as I mentioned, we were awarded funding in 33 counties, and we're building to the north. And logistically, it makes sense for us to move our teams in a systematic approach as we move around the state. So I can foresee getting a schedule relatively soon, but I don't have a date yet as to when we're going to be starting.
One of our conversations was that the district I represent is not touched by their, hence, because I have TDS, data systems. And so several people in my district contacted TDS and asked them when they're gonna get out to the country. And they said they're already there. Well, maybe and maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So with that's kind of a general overview of where we're going. This is a live website that is up right now. So if you're interested in seeing if your district, your address, your parents' address, your daughter's address, your friend's address, you can put that in on Spectrum Rural Expansion. Just key in the address. Two things will happen. If you're in a build area, you can sign up for updates via text or email. If you're already in a serviceable area, you'll be redirected to our main Spectrum website, and then you can put in information on being contacted for install. Okay? So that's live. I know that it works. In my meetings around the state, I've had residents contact me and say, hey, you know, I'm getting updates, and they're coming down my street, and I'm really excited. So it is live today. I talked a little bit about how vast our network is compared to how many people take service. You know, 53 million addresses that we pass, but only 32 million customers is still a big number, but there's a big delta. So we talk a lot about broadband adoption. Who's using it, and do people in your communities know that there are various programs that can help them adopt? And so one of the things that was in your board packet, we just announced our Spectrum Internet 100, which is internet speed 100 megabits down, I think it's 4 megabits up, and it's $29.99. Well, with the FCC broadband benefit that is in play right now of $30, you actually could connect for free. So again, that's just something for the commission to know, that if you have access to our network and you're not a customer today for whatever reason, and I realize people have been impacted by the pandemic economically, they can certainly apply to take that service. So that's available, and that was in your board packet. For 5 years, 6 years actually, we've had in place a program called Spectrum Internet Assist. That's our low-cost program for low-income families and seniors. I know Karen's met with a lot of your local communities and walked them through what that looks like, but think about kids who are on free and reduced lunch. If they qualify for that, they qualify for this service. Also low-income seniors, there's various ways to be eligible. That's a 30 meg service for $17.99. Just an example of things that we're already doing to make our access to the network more affordable. We offer different digital grants. We have programs for schools. There's community programs for like bulk housing, like HUD housing, or low-income housing, senior housing, etc. And then I mentioned the FCC program that's a $30 credit that folks can qualify for based on income. And I looked up the stats before I came, and only 3% of the county is taking part in that program, and this as of January. So again, it's going to have a lot of these things going on, but if people don't know about them, right? That's, you know, the Affordable Connectivity Program through the FCC is certainly something you could share on your, not telling you how to do it, but something you put on the website. It doesn't have to talk about charter. I mean, we're one of many providers. There's a host of providers that are participating in that program. So just something good for you to take back to your constituents, because I know you're always wanting that information. And then, you know, lastly, other opportunities to expand broadband. So we have applied for various grants. NTIA, we've partnered with some tribes around the state. We've done some Michigan grants, which I mentioned earlier. The governor just signed another round of funding using some of the federal funds that are coming in for future Michigan grants. And the timing of that hasn't been released, but I think it'll be this fall. There's another $250 million in that bucket. And then, of course, ARPA funding, right? So, and I realize, you know, Commissioner, we've talked about that before, but, you know, so we thought it would be helpful to come out and tell you about, hey, here's what's already coming before we start having other discussions about maybe using ARPA for broadband. We thought we should tell you, fill in some of the blanks for you. So I know I talked kind of quickly, but I want to keep you on schedule, and Karen and I are happy to take any questions if you have them.
Any questions?
You're not saying what townships you're going to start in?
I don't have it defined by township yet. That's why
okay.
I included the map of the townships that are there. You can kind of see that it's predominantly the top half of the county where the unserved census blocks are. But believe me, my job would be a lot easier if I got the data that said that it's going to be, let's look at it. Whichever township, that New Haven, I think is a big one that's going to be impacted. But I actually get the data by census block, and it's like, okay, I need a decoder key to try to figure out what that means.
Yeah, because a month or two ago or something, there was a car parked in my yard, and I went, what the heck that car was? And I went out there and said to inspect him, and I followed the guy, and he was walking all over the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was tracking him where he's going. I wondered what was going on.
Well, and quite truthfully, what they're doing is they're looking at the condition of the poles.
Yeah, they was going out and driving all over.
Because
looking
we
at it.
attach to the pole line, right?
Yeah.
And unless the poles are too old or can't support additional lines being on them, then we'll go underground, but it costs a lot more to go underground. But yeah, you will likely start seeing our trucks and our teams out here assessing, trying to figure out which route they're coming in, how they're going to be attaching. So it's a good question. That's why you should use that website to put your address in, this one.
I don't have to. That's the trouble. I don't have internet.
Do you have a phone?
Yeah.
You can do it on your phone.
Oh.
I've done it. That will work. So, and I wouldn't tell you that if I hadn't tried it, because that would have been embarrassing. So, yeah, going back to this kind of gives you, that's why I dropped that. You can see, I think Venice is touched, but again, I don't know without I haven't gotten all the details yet. So, what other questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
You're
much.
very
Thank you,
welcome. Thank you for having us. And
Thank you
appreciate
for all
it.
the work you're gonna do on our county.
Yes, it's exciting. And we're happy
You don't
to-
have a timetable then? Is that even?
I don't yet.
Oh, okay.
We are, given the funding over 10 years, we get 6 years to build it. Our company is being very aggressive in how quickly we're building. I foresee that we'll have an idea in terms of timing soon, that I'll be able to come back and report. But I don't know yet where you are in the build schedule.
Okay.
So that's why I would encourage people to use that website and just sign up for updates. Okay, excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm trying to get out of
All
this.
right. Guys, take your time getting out of here. We'll move on. We won't go we'll move into our agenda items, and we'll start with item A on the Econ and Fiscal Development Committee, which is to approve the 2022 total equalized valuation and authorize the board Cheyenne County Clerk to execute the necessary documents.
Support. I'll make a motion.
All right.
Support.
We have motion and support for item A. Dr. Boggs, if you would.
Yes, well, I'm going to have Pete talk about this. The good news is that our taxable value is going up by about $1 million overall of money that we will see as tax money. As you can see, the actual valuation goes from $3 billion or from $2.7 billion to $3 billion. That equates to about $1 million worth of additional tax revenue for the county. However, that's with the caveat, usually it's about $300,000. But with inflation, with other things of that nature, I wouldn't go spending it yet. This is stuff that will be need to fill in holes in the budget as we move forward. And the bulk of this money is a result of the solar farms coming online.
Gotcha.
So,
Sorry, I'll ask Pete.
Go ahead, start. No, that's fine.
Oh, are we gonna have,
Thank you.
first one, big
Thank you,
bulk
ladies.
of it will be sold, are we gonna have actual numbers on how much, where the addition's coming from, just what the number is on the solar farms and so on?
Right, we'll be able to, we're slicing and dicing that up right now, trying to figure that all out. Right now, we're dealing with the bulk numbers that are coming out of the local units from the March Board of Review. And so, yes, we'll parse that out. We'll look at not only the industrial personal property, which are the solar panels, but we'll also be looking at industrial real property is what most of those fields have now been classed from agriculture. So we'll look at that, and we'll be able to probably provide a report next month. So, but right now, as Dr. Boggs said, your assessed value now, what we consider half of market value for the entire county is around $3 billion. And your taxable value last year was about $2,022,000,000. And so now we're standing at 2.243, or 2,243,856,807, which equates, as mentioned, to the million plus return there. And so as we go through this process and the state does final equalization in May, we don't expect a factor, the state hasn't factored anybody in a while, so these numbers are pretty good. Now there's a Headley calculation that happens, so your millage will be reduced. We estimate right now that the millage will be reduced from 5.4647 down to 5.4221. When I initially gave the numbers to Dr. Boggs, I cautioned him until we had the rollback numbers not to get too excited. And so we took a bit of a hit, but not the total hit that I was kind of worried that we would take, because that assessed value jumped up a tremendous amount. And what that meant is you have a lot of properties that would buy in and sell out.
How many years down the road does that expire? So let's say we go 20 years in bliss here. Is there an expiration date on those solar farms if they were to just pull them? And now we budgeted $20 million extra 20 years from now, and all of a sudden now you're back down 10 million of that?
That's where I would take the cautionary tale of not only inflation.
So how do we pass that on to future boards? Because not many of us will be around 10, 20 years.
Good investments at this point, because what it feels like, those with both Hazelton and Venice going on their own with their own zoning, and there's quite the animosity towards solar in that area,
right,
that you're not going to necessarily see more come through. And I won't say the other four-letter word that starts with W, but they're still out there looking around.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
So this is your part to do the final equalization here, and then it'll go on to the state.
All right. Committee, any comments or questions on this item? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of moving this on to Wednesday, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will move on to Wednesday. So we'll move on to item B, which is a motion that we will entertain to approve the rehabilitation mortgage discharge for Irish Hammerstrom, 510 White Oak Drive, Perry.
I'll make that motion.
A motion and a second. Dr. Boggs, if you will.
Yep, this is just, they've completed their part of the program, and now it's time to discharge it and take the lien away from it.
Got it. Okay. Questions, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of item B moving forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will carry. Now we're on to item C. We'll entertain a motion to approve the contract for services with Charter Consulting LLC to administer the Emergency Homeowner Rehabilitation Program and authorize the chair to execute the same.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Okay. Item C moved and supported. Questions, discussion? Dr. Boggs?
This is a similar program to the previous one for emergency home repair. Pete, do you want to say anything about it?
Just briefly, this is since the county had it in-house 12 years ago. Then we had the city of Owasso administer it, and then they lost their staff person, and then we started using contractors. The primary reason we started using contractors is that we no longer get that CDBG grant of $300,000+. It doesn't make sense because the payment calculation through the state and the feds now is essentially 18% of a cost. So it makes no sense to us because now all we're operating on are these mortgage payoffs and such. So these small consulting firms essentially gather as many communities as they can to make it worthwhile. So this is a very standard contract and standardized through the state and the feds.
Okay. Questions?
Just a question, how is the contract awarded? Is there a bid process? Is this a renewal of contract or is this a new contract?
We think we've done this 4 times because we keep losing contractors. And what essentially happens is somebody gets a full-time job in a big city, Kalamazoo or something like that still gets some sort of CDBG funding, or has enough out there that they're always capturing a cost. There's very few of these folks out there because it is such a capped type of professional service.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes. Any other questions? All right, item C, all in favor of moving it forward for further discussion on Wednesday, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will move forward. Item D, at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve the placement of the memorial bench for Janet Curley at a circuit court facility.
I'll make that motion.
Oh,
Support.
support. Questions or discussion, item D. Do we really need to have this? Can we just do it?
Well, so they need your permission, you own the building, you own the property. This is a request from several of her former staff members. They are paying for the bench, they're gonna stay out there as a memorial. This is really just for your permission as the owners of the property. Judge Stewart's thought it would be a great idea as well, and he's fully supportive of it.
Then they're gonna bronze a statue of her and sit her on the bench.
Is that gonna be inside or outside?
It'll be outside on the courthouse lawn somewhere.
Oh.
I'll have to work with Tim on where's the appropriate place to put it.
Oh, okay.
Where,
I want to say that I'm 100% in support of this. I would just also say that it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have some sort of policy about
I agree with that.
naming and placing, you know, whatever the criteria is going to be, and we can make sure that that criteria encompasses this one. But just from past experience, you know, people can start lining up to name things and place things and whatever. Just saying. But I'm voting yes on this, and I'm 100% in favor of it. So.
that's fair.
You're right.
Yes, but yeah. Just looking at the big picture probably wouldn't hurt.
That'd be something we take note of here. I don't know how we discuss or talk about such thing.
I can put together a policy and you guys can workshop it.
I'm sure another company.
I'm
has
sure
something
lots of
we
them
can
do.
coach, right?
I know Owasso School Board has had to do one because you want every school board.
And the individual, hopefully, I don't know how we would say it, but would have served in the county capacity.
Yes.
I would note
Yeah.
that Janet Curley was also one of your
Yeah.
membership.
Yeah.
She was a county commissioner
Yeah.
at one point in her
Like for
career.
6 years.
Yeah.
Well, you bring up a good point, and I appreciate that. So with item D, any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor of moving this forward onto Wednesday, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will move forward. And now we're on to our final item E. We will entertain a motion to confirm the chair's appointment of the following individuals: Randy Hazel to Brownfield Authority Board, Zach Nicholson and Michael Carr to Parks Board, and Todd Thomas to the Planning Commission.
Support.
Motion. I will support the motion. It is now open for discussion. Questioning.
Your letters are attached for them. There was mostly one applicant, one letter.
We were not overwhelmed with applicants.
Wait for years.
From Parks and Rec, we were quite pleased with the two applicants.
Yes, they're
Yes.
well qualified, they seem
Yes, and they're.
very acceptable, very good people.
Yep. They're into that space.
Anything else? All right. Regarding item E, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will move on to Wednesday as well. Anything else for the good of the committee this time? Hearing none. This is the second call to the public. Anyone like to interact with the committee this time? No? All right, we're adjourned.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. like to speak at this time? If not, Julie, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. New this month, I'm wrapping up the settlement for the 2021 tax year. I've got one unit that we haven't settled with yet, kind of holding things up. Hoping to get that finished up and wrapped up this week, though. April 1st, the state foreclosed on 25 properties in Shiawassee County. The tax sale will end on August 25th, I believe 7 p.m. The bidding can go to. They start the bidding about 30 days prior to August 25th, but I don't have a definite start date. People can go to tax-sale.info to check out the properties and to see how it all works. Sign up if they're wanting to bid on a property. The Michigan MyHab program is going awesome. So far this month, 4 payments totaling about $30,000 for just 4 homeowners. And I've gotten, a dozen or more requests for other homeowners that the state was wanting to know what their balances were. So that's just going great, very, very exciting. Land Bank did meet again this month, still in the organizational phases. We'll be meeting again on Monday, May 2nd, 9 o'clock, right here in the boardroom. Other than that, things are busy, things are good.
Okay. Any questions for Julie?
I have a question.
Sure.
How will the land bank interface with future tax foreclosure auctions?
Well, it'll be interesting, I guess. We'll see what kind of properties that maybe are foreclosed on, if there are properties that we feel could be developed or used in a certain way in the community.
We'll get first dib at it.
We
Right.
would, yeah,
We won't be conducting our own tax auction then?
we would, I'll have Title Check run the auction as they have been doing.
Okay.
I believe we'll continue
Okay.
to use them in that process. But before the auction, we do have first dibs,
Right.
first rights to
Okay.
a property. So if a property that we thought could be useful in some way came up, we would definitely be able to look at it.
Okay.
I don't think that the primary purpose of the land bank, though, unlike in other communities, is to acquire property. I don't think at least that's the general consensus among the land bank at the moment, because you end up owning them, having to insure them, maintain them, and so on. And not all that many fortunately come up in this county. Property is valuable in our county. I think mostly the land bank deals with helping ease certain burdens in getting financing for development, and there's also this ability to help untangle a mess if there are multiple claims to a property. So I think mainly it's a development tool rather than, it doesn't say it won't ever happen. Who knows, we might have a property once in a while come up that we say, there's a benefit to grabbing this and we can make sure it gets developed.
And actually, you guys did about 2 months ago, where we captured a property that was adjacent to a park,
Right.
and that went to the land bank, and then we took it in the name of the county, and it now is part of the park out at Chi-Town.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are occasionally these random parcels that come up like that one that have no other purpose, but now we won't have to go through the process of us bidding on it and asking for it and requesting it. We'll be able to say, yeah, this is a hole in the middle of the park. We can keep this one for
Is
ourselves.
that the landlocked one, or am I remembering wrong?
It was I don't know if it was landlocked or not, but it was the dam parcel that you guys purchased for $1 from the state.
Yeah. Yes.
2 or 3 months ago. I don't remember what it was.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I was just inquiring about if we were gonna have to execute the tax sale auction or not, or contract that out.
We won't execute.
Okay.
Title Check will probably run
Okay.
it as they
So-
have been. They do it for numerous counties
Yep.
and areas.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now for our agenda, we have one item that we're going to add to set. SL&H Metals and it's from Tim from Shiawassee County Buildings and Grounds. We will add that to the agenda, and we will make that agenda E.
Or you can put it as C,
C.
because you don't have,
Oh.
the presentation.
Yeah, okay, that's, yeah. Oh, okay, or, yeah, D, C. C, we'll put it for C. Okay, very good. All right, need a motion to accept and place on file the 2021 County Clerk's Year-End Report.
So moved.
Support.
A motion and a second. Caroline, what? Any
Really,
comment?
things are increased overall. I mean, I don't know how many of you had an opportunity to really look at things, but circuit court, we never really closed during the pandemic. I mean, our access to the public was limited, but we kept everything functioning through email and servicing that way. Everything was up this past year. Civil cases, felony, PPOs, divorces. I mean, I cannot tell you how thrilled staff is to have that fourth person coming on board. She just had her 30-day review. She is just coming along so nicely, and it couldn't happen at a better time as trials are beginning. So we have 2 staff now being trained fully in the courts, and then the other 2 are managing the flow of the traffic coming in. And so you can imagine, as things have opened, and we have been one of the counties that have opened a lot sooner than other counties, and people have been surprised pleasantly, but we're just busy on both sides of the office. And then I did a little breakdown again. I provided the numbers for 4 years, but really just looking at the 21 in the vital records, we're increased in everything. The services haven't reduced. Birth records, people are getting married like nobody's business. So I think it's because it was shut down and people couldn't get married. So that's the synopsis, much faster than last year.
Any questions for the clerk? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
Item B, I need a motion to approve the immediate construction needs to the courthouse in an amount not to exceed, and I'm going to put the figure in there, $4 million, and approve the engineering proposal with Brand Road in an amount not to exceed $345,833.
Make a motion.
Support.
Motion and support, discussion.
Too much money.
Yeah, of course, I knew that was coming. But anyway, in your packet, take it, get a chance, it's very concise and in-depth about what they think we should be doing, what everybody else thinks we should be doing with some of our ARPA money. Also, what is not in here, I think, is, unless they've gotten to us, I forgot to ask that, is work on the cupola.
No, it is not.
Yeah,
We will have more information on that for the presentation on Thursday. The $4 million covers the interior of the building, the heating, the cooling, the historical renovations and changes. But there's still an additional expense for the cupola or the dome area, and that'll be coming soon, but they have to get someone with a specialized lift to get up there and inspect it.
and that's going to be when it's a little nicer, not today.
They're gonna do it in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, but anyway, the $4 million we hope, does cover that. No.
Their confidence level is low.
Confidence level, there you go.
On that, I'm serious, they really, they're pulling these estimates out. We're not doing construction until next year. I would not be surprised if it goes past there, especially considering the dome was not included. It's hard to tell what's gonna happen next year. So,
We're putting plans out there for ARPA money.
So what will be the result of this after this week of meetings is that there will be some immediate fixes in the courthouse with some plaster and paint that are peeling before some of our large trials start this year that are going to be on, get national attention. And then by the end of the summer, we will have a full set of plans that will be able to go out for bid for all of the services that need to be done with construction beginning next year throughout the building.
The way I see it is we have three choices. The first one is to do this and spend possibly more than $4 million. Fortunately, we have Biden bucks to do that right now. Not that it was my hope that we spend so much on it, but I believe it was quite a body blow to get this number. We can
I know, we
spend that
picked you
money
up off the floor.
and we can save the building for another 50 years till major work needs doing it. We can tear it down and build a new, ugly, modern building for 14, 16, 18 million dollars, much more, and have not that wonderful building. Or we can do what's traditional among communities, and that is ignore it and leave it to, but you know what's going to happen 10 or 15 years from now if we ignore it, they're going to tear that building down. It'll fall apart. So, as much as I dislike spending that kind of money right now, I just don't see we have much of a choice. The options are bad, worse, and even worse than that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. I went to the MAC Legislative Conference a few weeks ago, Karen Broder and myself, and I went to the ARPA funding workshop, and many communities, so there was a representative there from the Attorney General's office, there was a representative from a couple of different public sector consultants, and many communities are using their ARPA funds for their courthouses and for their jails, because we're not alone in this. I mean, this is just how it is, and if you don't do something about it, it's going to end up costing more later. So,
Penny now, or really penny later.
yes.
Well, the other item is there's no elasticity in our budget to pay for this with other money. So it's, this is, the ARPA money can be used for this in a good way, but there wouldn't be a lot of money to do much more than put Band-Aids on things in our current budget.
So, it was like a few years ago, we sealed the outside, and we did half the building in one budget year, and we did the other half the next year.
And just so everybody knows, the main large part of this is the heating and cooling system. The heating and cooling system done 30 years ago is now decaying, mostly because there was no pH control on, it's a hot water system on the water, and it caused corrosion. This one will have a pH control system, and I'm hoping will add decades to the life of the system. That it will be maintained by future, whoever's handling it in the future. We also went with, that was a fairly conservative approach, going with that heating and cooling. There was an option, actually, believe it or not, for a few $1,000s less for a cutting edge technology, but we'd end up heating that whole building with electricity. And I've never heard of a situation where electricity was a better option than natural gas. And also, as you know, when things are really cutting edge, 10 years down the line, you can end up with a maintenance nightmare, companies that go out of business and so on. So we're taking a very conservative approach to our heating and cooling, a very tried, proven type of a heating and cooling system, which I hope will work better than what's over there now.
Yeah. What they really strive to say to us is that they expect the balance of heat and cooling to be much better, but it is a building that's 125 years old, and it wasn't built for heating and cooling of what we have today. But they can really improve it. I mean, they've done courthouses, one of their courthouses lately, and it was in the our magazine was Lenawee courthouse, and they spent down there. They remodeled the whole courthouse, and they spent $8.5 million. So, but that was a remodel too. I mean, they did the rooms, the walls, interior, everything was replaced. Yeah.
Interior.
It's a good article that came in your MAC magazine or the Township magazine. I get that. So,
Mr. Chairman, may I add one thing?
yeah.
I would just caution about not going electric, and I heard something today, and I don't know, I haven't researched it yet, so somebody needs to, that there's a chance that within the next few years, the federal government may start penalizing people, And I heard this because I'm buying a new gas stove, I'm changing my house from electric to gas, that they may start penalizing people for natural gas, trying to force everybody to electricity. So it was just something that somebody said to me, I haven't researched that, but if that's true, it might be something we want to consider before we commit to natural gas.
So you have in California and Oregon, in Washington.
The traditional BTU cost of electricity is 3 times that of natural gas. And I hesitate to think, to say, I can't believe they would do something that phenomenally stupid
Well,
at the federal level. But
What
they've
they
done-
do.
they will.
There's so much going on now.
I just think it's worth looking into. Somebody better check and see if there's something
Well, in
regulatory.
these specifications, the company that, Branco, they did the write-up here, we have it. And now they'll do the specifications, and that's where they're gonna balance the electric with maybe traditional gas. They will balance that out for us, because they have to get in there and find out distances, how the circulation of air will be, and so on and so forth, to make sure what is efficient and what's not. That's why they gave us two things to look at.
And I think we can ask them about that also during our
I
presentation.
wonder how much more it would cost us to put some panels on the property that directly,
But what?
the solar panels. I mean,
You don't have enough property to do that.
would it take too many panels? Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I would put them on the roof.
And also,
I'm joking.
I have a couple of
they're ugly,
questions.
inefficient, and expensive. Other than that, they're great.
You guys got a point.
Cindy?
Okay, so we're being asked to approve an amount not to exceed 4 million. Does that include the 345 for the engineering?
So, we don't wanna put the 4 million in there right yet. There's gonna be a number given to you on Thursday when they have the finalized bid for the painting plaster work that'll be done immediately.
So
Yes, this
what are
isn't-
we approving?
You're advancing it to, the next meeting.
Advance it to Wednesday
Without a number?
at this time.
It's going to be low for the painting and plaster
For the
work.
record, if we did not advance this to Wednesday, it could still be put on by the chairman of that committee, which,
I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding this then,
But still.
because I thought today was just to approve the engineering and the immediate work. Now,
Yes.
so it's not gonna be that $4 million.
No, it's just gonna be whatever
So what number is it?
Well,
You're
we
gonna get
we
the
will
bid
have
on
it,
Thursday.
we will not have that number until Thursday.
So-
We can hold off, but it's not gonna, we're not approving the whole 4 million today or this week.
We could-
Because we don't have any bids yet. That's gonna be this summer.
So we're approving the 345 and some undisclosed
Some
number
amount of
for,
money, which my guess, and I might be wrong, and this will be in the low tens of thousands, in order to do the immediate work that is over there to make the building, fix where the leak is in courtroom 2 has caused some problems. In the entranceway, we got some plaster problems. We got a historic guy through this group who's gonna come in, and he knows very much what he's doing to fix things before it gets worse. That's to make it show well for all the,
If he's gonna fix the inside, he's gotta fix the outside first then, right?
these are just some cosmetic repairs on the inside.
Oh,
They're
it's not the leaking
We
through
had
this
a
unit.
heating system
I just
leak
thought I'd
over
ask.
courtroom 2 that caused a problem. The big hit the big number we have to approve is gonna come later this summer. They're gonna do all the engineering, they're gonna get bids for us, and hopefully somebody can give us bids, because everything is so wild out there right now as far as pricing. And we'll approve the big amount. This week, all we need to do is say, let's fix those cosmetic things for this summer, and approve the engineering. The engineering is just for them to make detailed maps and instructions for what it needs. We're gonna have to have the cupola, and then once they have tremendous specs, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, as you can see, just to do the specs.
yeah, that's not a
Then-
small number.
That's a big number. This group acts as, in effect, our general contractor. And they will be our advocates in all this. And during the construction, they will have someone on site all the time. They'll take the bids. One of the things I've asked for my own comfort, and I hope you'll all agree, is that in a contract, we have the right, once those bids come in, to get our own bids if we decide to. So I don't know if that's a practical thing, it's just something that I asked for.
It is an option. It's an
Yes.
option.
So, but I don't see if we can do anything without going forward with the detailed specs on what's actually needed over there.
So
I
you're
think
saying
that-
tens of thousands is what
That
we're
just
looking at
for-
this
and-
week?
And excuse me if I'm wrong, but the guy kind of indicated he didn't think it'd be a huge hit for us, just to do the cosmetic stuff this year.
So the plasterer came in last week and the painter is coming in at 5:00 a.m. Wednesday morning so that he can give us the numbers by Thursday's meeting for those cosmetic things. That was the soonest they could get into it.
So ballpark around 400,000 is,
More than likely for this week, yes.
and that's ARPA funds, correct, that we're looking to pull that. Where are we at currently? Like, what have we spent?
So that is a good question, and Tracy is preparing a report for you guys that we will have later this week. Greg asked for that earlier.
So later this week,
Probably tomorrow.
I'd ask for what we've actually spent and what we've encumbered. That is what we've already said, even if we haven't spent it, what we're going to spend, like the jail roof. We've already decided we're spending ARPA money on the jail roof. So then we can see what's coming in, what we've already encumbered. Now we're gonna encumber more money, more of the ARPA, and then we'll see what we have left.
and we have amounts that have went to the courts to replace lost revenue, correct?
I don't know yet.
Well, I do know that we have amounts, I just don't know the amount.
Several of the acts of 20 and 21 were replacement of monies. So there's ARPA, there's been different bundles of money for ARPA that have done different things. Tracy will put that in.
So when it goes to lost revenue, say, to the courts, we don't vote on that, it just goes there.
You did vote on it. It was part of the budget.
So it was stuck in the budget as ARPA money, and we just voted it through along with the entire budget.
You did. It was in the memo.
Nice. So we'll have those numbers this week. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Did we get quotes up for engineering costs other than Ranro?
Brand Row is the one that you approved a couple months ago
Okay.
to go ahead and to do that.
Okay.
They were here, I think 2 months ago. They did a presentation, or 3 months ago.
Like in
Yep.
January?
They tend to do a lot of this kind of work.
Right. It was before February, I know that.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion?
Well, so clarification on the motion, because you did stick a number in there for,
Okay,
and-
we want to retract our number and just put a number. Do we want to put a number in there not to exceed 400,000?
Right, I think you want to drop the 0.
Yeah, let's drop it 0. Is that okay with the motion maker? Yep. And the second? Yeah, okay. So the figure, the number will be not to exceed 400,000 for cosmetic work this year and the engineering costs. Okay. Any other discussion? If
Looks
not-
like more than just touch-up
Yeah.
for that money.
Well, I think that number's gonna be high because it says and approved engineering proposal for 345, so you're talking about changing your motion to include a total of 745,000.
Well, then that's not,
That's not what you meant.
How
No.
about approve the immediate construction needs in the courthouse and approve the engineering proposal with Brand Row not to exceed 400,000.
That seems reasonable.
That seems reasonable. That was what I asked to be approved. Guys, is that okay with the motion maker?
yes, that is
Is
the
that okay
intent
with the
of
second? Okay, with that, and with that discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to Wednesday. Thank you. Okay. Now item C. Tim,
Yeah, I just,
this is the SNL,
Yeah.
SNL and H Metals.
I just got the bid today, but because it has to do with the railing, the steps, is, you know, a hazard not having the railing there for people. So I wanted to get it to you as quick as I could, so that, you know, if you approve it, otherwise waiting another month.
This is for both the
And it-
Capitan
yes.
building and the jail.
Yeah, I
And
see
so
that.
it'll replace the railing and the cement, right?
Yes.
Is that the ramp at the Capitan Center, that rail?
Not the rail not the ramp part, that's still there.
But
But it will,
the rail-
going up the steps, there's 2 sets that will
That railing is still broke?
do that. Well,
I thought we fixed that.
no, what you did is you fixed the steps. When you fixed the steps, the railing came out. So now the railing's gotta be replaced because it was broke. So what you're looking at now, they're gonna make new railing for the Capitan steps that will be powder coated to a aluminum color to match the rail that's still at the ramp part of the Capitan. And then they will powder coat the jail railing in a black that will go up the whole ramp there on both sides. And then there'll be 3 sections of rail on the steps because they're really too wide to just put one on each side. You really need one in the middle there also. So, that was what
Okay.
that's what it came to, just 22,000 something.
$22,649.72. I'd entertain a motion to accept the bid and so we can get the work started.
Support.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion at this time? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Item D, need a motion to approve the proposal from HRC for Phase 1 Stormwater Project Planning in an amount not to exceed $20,000.
Support.
There's a motion, support, discussion.
So just a couple of things, we will have a presentation on this week as well. And what this is to allow Tony the ability to do a stormwater management plan for the entire county so that he can apply for state and federal funding and grants. We will be able to get this funding back as being able to charge, I'm sorry, the other parts of this we will be able to get back to the total of $100,000, but just the $20,000 is the initial investment for actually writing the comprehensive plan. Tony, do you have anything you want to add?
This allows us, like he said, the funding, you got clean water, the revolving fund, state revolving fund, you got the 319 grant through legal, and you got like Congress this last year took some projects from other counties and give them direct funding. You know, so congressman or senator come and say, hey, you got any projects that are ready? We can say, yeah, we got this list here. And that's what it is. But in this here will put us in this first phase only gets us on the list. And then we can put all the projects together. We can add projects and we can take projects away. And if you read through this, guys are gonna, we did come up with a plan with the road commission for each township, 2 of the worst crossings that need to be replaced that are used big amounts of money to change. You know, that was one of the things that started this. If we would have had this, we could have probably got into the SAW grant funding. Remember when they had the SAW grant funding about 5-6 years ago? And we could have probably got our GIS all paid for and everything up to date to do that. So this is what this plan is kind of for. It's for low interest rate loans, the revolving funding, and some years they'll give you principal forgiveness. Like right now they're talking giving up to 50% principal forgiveness. I think 2022 the low interest loan rate was 1.85, I think it was a year, and then the next year, for a 20-year loan, and then 2.15 for a 30-year loan. So it's to get us so that we can apply for these. We got, like, for example, Rush Township wants to redo the complete water system in Henderson, which they have problems, you know. We get, there's a lot of drains in there, but only one of them's a county drain. Nobody's maintaining the rest of them, you know. So that's kind of what this is for, you know. It'll put us on the list, and then once we get this initial one, we're on the list. We just gotta make sure every 5 years we reapply, and there's no cost to reapply, just so we always stay on this list. So, and Jamie can present this better Wednesday. He's been doing this for a lot of years. A lot of the bigger counties like Washtenaw, Oakland, they've been doing this, using this revolving fund money for years. Our region of Eagle, I think it consists of 10 or 11 counties, and we've never, there ain't one county in our region that's ever applied for any of this, ever. So the representative we had a meeting with him a month ago, and they're all supportive of it. They like to see the money get spread around.
And if we can spend someone else's money,
That's a good thing.
yes. Well, someone else will take it if we don't.
And we are going tomorrow, Wednesday, and we are running into problems. We're going Wednesday with the road commission and 2 different township supervisors to look at 5 different projects that they want to know what they can do to fix them, you know. Well, 3 of them are tile drains. Been in since the early 1900s. They're just too small. But you're looking at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 to change these, you know. So this is where this would come in handy for that. We're gonna go and document all this stuff and figure out what we're gonna do.
And this plan will give us an idea of how much work there is out there now and in the future.
Yes, and you guys will get, I think, they got a copy of that first
Yes.
phase when we got it, but that was only them crossings that we wanted to change, you know, and it comes about $7 million, you know, and then what we can do, you can add projects to this plan then. As we go through, let's say, because we got a project in Bancroft there that a lot of landowners want us to replace this 24-inch tile. It runs for 3.5 miles. Well, you know, that's not gonna be cheap. You know, so that's the kind of projects that you could start using this stuff for, you know. And we put something together on that, and we'd add that to this project, yes, you know, so. And from what I understand, if I'm not mistaken, like the village of New Lowther, we've got 3 county drains that go through the village of New Lowther. 2 of them are in bad shape. They could apply under the drain commission for these funds for themselves too. Municipalities, that's what the second phase would be, is to go out and talk with municipalities, townships, cities, villages, and educate them on this too. So.
What it ends up doing is it hopefully it reduces the payments everybody has to make over time. Because you set it up for payments, and then if they do forgive some principal, then that works out good. Okay. Any other questions for Tony? Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh,
One thing for, by Thursday, for the finance agenda, we do hope to have the updated bonding proposal. We got all the documents we needed from the Road Commission, Pleasant View, and a couple other areas. And if so, we should be able to place it on the agenda on Thursday, and then you won't need to have a special meeting in early May.
very good. Good. Excellent.
So they'll advertise for bids then?
Advertise for bids, for the bonds.
Yeah, for the bonds,
Yes.
on it, you know, the
Yep.
bids for the bonds.
Yep.
Just a note of interest, these type of bonds will be highly sought after If you've been reading in the Wall Street, a lot of private bonds are now in negative range. That means there's a discount on the bonds instead of interest, that they have to pay. But with the municipality as we are in that area, there should be a lot of activity in bidding what the interest rate will be. So it should be very favorable for us. So hopefully that, and the Fed, of course, we watch the Fed and their interest rates, and even though at the first of the year they anticipated 6, 7, 8 rate increases, a rate increase every month, they've really not done much. But they keep threatening they will, and they're threatening at the end of May. Well, if we have all this taken care of and sold by May, our interest rate could even be better than anticipated. So we're hoping everything goes just like we planned. Yep. Any other discussion this evening? All right, we adjourn. Thank you.